Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very special guest we're honored to have on the program. And singer, songwriter, and comedian Ray Stevens. You can find his website at www.raystevens.com. And Ray, we'd like to welcome you to the Conscience of Kansas radio program.
Thanks for having me.
You know, Ray, I wanted to start our interview by just telling you a little story about how I learned about your music. It was back in 74, 75. We were eating at Pizza Hut in Independence, Kansas, and this new gentleman came running through the Pizza Hut. He wasn't carrying anything but I think one of those filling station bathroom keys that's hooked onto a piece of wood, and he shot on through, and then about 5 minutes later he came back in what my dad called an encore run, and I think the filling station was on the other side of the street. And I asked my dad, you know, as all kids do, you know, what's going on? And my dad says there's this fella by the name of Ray Stevens writing these songs about streaking. And in your bio that folks can read at raystevens.com, you talk about the college streaking that was going on at that time and how you, wrote this really super popular song. But I think in Kansas, people thought that streaking was purely a Ray Stevens creation, and it got me involved in listening to your music. And we got our pizza for free, Ray. I want to let you know that. And, yeah. Forever a fan. I talked to my mom before we did the interview, and I was like, why was Dad so excited? Well, we got the pizza free. We probably went out and bought your album that night and just began a love affair with your stuff. And I was wondering if you could tell our folks, you know, a little bit about how you got into the music business. Did you have any idea that you would become an icon that you are today?
Well, I don't know about becoming an icon, but I've always loved music and wanted to be in the music business, and I can't ever remember really wanting to seriously be anything else. So, you know, luckily I came along at a time when that was a lot easier to do than it is today. First of all, the music business is kind of in a slump right now, and the field is just filled with people, kids, talented kids wanting to get in the music business. But, you know, with so many vying for the prize, it's a little harder than it used to be. Back in the days when I was first getting started, there wasn't as much competition.
Well, you know, I remember growing up with these songs, stuff like the Shriners Convention and the Mississippi Squirrel Revival, and It's Me Again, Margaret, and we would actually just play act it. We would get my brothers, we would get together, and we'd play the little parts and pieces of those things. It really was a family fun music, and I think that's important, and you still do that today. A lot of music that's out there may be creative, and there are a lot of people vying, but you can't always play it for your grandmother, you know, if you know.
Well, that's true, yeah. You
can play Ray Stevens stuff everywhere, and so I think that really opens you up. You know, here in the Heartland states, they're pretty strict on what they listen to. Even their humor, they want to hear something that's positive, and you've continued this. Now, I knew you were a funny man and creative, but I never knew you were just flat out a patriot until I started listening to some of your music, you know, starting in 2010 when you wrote We the People. Was there a particular motivation of why you got into writing some of those kinds of songs?
Well, yeah. You know, as you get older, you start paying a little more attention to the politics around you. And I found a guy on the radio named Rush Limbaugh, and I found Fox News on the cable channel. And, you know, my eyes were opened by listening to these people. And I'm very worried about the direction that the liberals have taken the country. And, you know, I thought, well, you know, I'm not a politician. I'm not a guy with any political power, but I do write and record, and so maybe I can sway some hearts, change some minds who might have a liberal bent toward the more conservative right-wing side of things with my songs. And so that's what I've been doing for the last 3 or 4 years.
Well, it's been exciting, and again, you know, folks here in the Heartland, they appreciate that. I think there's a place. I think you do a service for people, not just good music that's fun to listen to, but when we get in the political sphere and things that are going on with Barack Obama, people are about to pop their cork. I mean, they're upset, they're concerned, they're worried about the future. And many folks, whether it's the Tea Party folks or others, are trying to get together and make some changes. But it's a protracted fight to take back this country. And along the way, you got to avoid going postal. And so, you know, having a good laugh is very much part of winning these important battles, and that's where you come in with your music. You can listen to the music, you're talking about these important things, you're making, serious points in your songs, but yet your people can have a good laugh, and then they can go back to the fight. I think you do a public service.
Well, thank you. I sure hope so. Meanwhile, it seems to me that the lunatic fringe has sort of taken over, and they're steering the boat over Niagara Falls here. I mean, we got to do something to turn this ship around.
Well, absolutely. And in the lunatic fringe, whether it's the Occupy groups or it's the left wingers from Barack Obama's minions, these people, in my view, you can tell me if you agree, these people are not happy people. When I listen to them talk, I don't feel inspired. I don't even feel, like I want to just smile at the sunshine. These people are angry, and they're wanting to have class warfare. That's why it's good to have this conservative option in the world and in your music, because what you sing about, these conservative values, are optimistic. They're love of country. They're the love of what this country has, our values, and what we need to save, and what the future might be if we don't go off the cliff, like you're saying.
Yeah, and if people will just stop and think for a minute, conservatism has the track record for producing the best environment to live in. Let's face it. I mean, the facts are irrefutable. So, I just think that a lot of people, especially younger folks, are ill-educated. And I can only blame, first of all, I blame the mainstream media, because they just sit there and night after night look you straight in the eye and lie through their teeth about the facts, about the truth. They bend the truth so bad. And secondly, I blame a lot of the teachers who are teaching junk to kids. I mean, a lot of kids don't even know who George Washington was, and that's ridiculous.
Well, I agree, and we suffer for that, and we're raising up generations of kids that don't have the love of America because they don't know what America is about. They don't have that foundation that many of us had growing up. When I was going through grade school there in the 70s, there was a transition going. There was this 60s radical influence was really starting to take hold. A lot of the teachers that had been there for 30, 40 years were phasing out, and you had these new sort of hippie, moral relativists coming in, and I could see it. I could see it and understand there was something taking place. Folks in Radioland, you can go to RayStevens.com and you have a chance to get this new album he's got, Spirit of 76. You can purchase it right there, Spirit of 76. It's got a ton of great songs. You can also go to the music store and you can get We the People, a lot of his other music, and you can follow places that Ray Stevens is going to be performing at. You can get your tickets and go see the man live, which is almost as magical as what we're doing here today. People here, we've got a brand new tea party here in western Kansas called the Big First. It's 11 counties. It's going to be a big thing. And the notion that we were going to have Ray Stevens on the radio, exciting Ellis and Russell counties, you have an impact, Ray, and you sound like one of these guys that's not big-headed from your stardom, but I certainly want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, because it makes a difference to a lot of folks.
Well, thank you so much. I'm just glad that I might be making a little dent, some of this.
Well, we all have to do our part, and that's what we're doing here with the Conscience of Kansas radio program. That's what the Patriot 105.7's doing. We do what we can do, and for guys like me that can't carry a tune but love to try in private, we love the creativity. And folks, go to RayStevens.com. Spirit of 76 is the newest creation from the funny man that's just been making us laugh for decades. And Ray Stevens, we just want to thank you for coming on the Conscience of Kansas radio program today.
Well, thank you, Paul, for having me.
Have a great day, sir.
You too.
All righty, bye-bye.